Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
Welcome to the Networking RX podcast. I'm your host, Frank Agan, founder and president of AmSpirit Business Connections. Today, we have another great guest. As our ongoing subscribers know, often on this podcast, I will be sharing ideas, insights, and best practices for building professional relationships and excelling at building professional networks. Occasionally, however, I'll be interviewing subject matter experts, authors, speakers, thought leaders, social scientists. These people will share their knowledge to help us build better relationships as well as help us understand why we humans act the way we do. Today on the podcast, I have Emma Reynolds-Middleton. Emma is CEO and master trainer at Soft Skills Zone. She says that soft skills was in her heart since the 1980s when she was in college. Emma had a meltdown. I'm sure she'll tell us the story, giving a public speech, and that was kind of a turning point in her life. She is a U.S. Army veteran. She devoted over 20 years working in private industry, the state government, and primarily the federal government as a finance officer, then in budgeting, quality assurance, program administration, and various workforce development work groups at the Georgia Department of Labor, Georgia Industries for the Blind, and 14 years at the CDC. We've heard a lot about that this year, the Centers for Disease Control. At the same time, as if this wasn't enough in her life, at the same time, Emma's been an engaged parent and community leader. For over a decade, she taught pro bono soft skills courses to youth and adults at schools and also at various not-for-profit organizations. In 2016, Emma became an adjunct professor or adjunct faculty at Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, which is in Georgia, Suwanee, Georgia, actually. And she's with their School of Professional and Applied Psychology, the Organizational Development and Leadership Program. She's taught communications for leaders, and she teaches the Team Dynamics course to undergraduates seeking a Master's of Science in Biomedical Sciences. When Emma resigned from the workforce, she made a smooth transition into what she's doing now at Soft Skills Zone, training, credentialing, and coaching others in soft skill development for their personal and professional success. Emma, that's quite a buildup. Welcome to the program.
Frank, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right, tell me about this meltdown. You can't get away without talking about the meltdown.
I have to start at the meltdown. That was the turning point in my life. You know, there's certain milestones in our lives that we remember. This was one of those. I was in a competition which required me to give a public speech. And public speaking is not a comfort zone for many of the listeners and a lot of folks. And at the time, it was not a comfort zone for me. As I was standing there on the stage and the audience was filled, I was sharing my speech about why I was the best candidate. And as I looked over to my right, I saw a few young ladies that were from my hometown, and they were laughing. Now, I'm going to stick with my story. And my story is they were laughing at me. And at that time, I can recall saying to expand, my mind was saying, expand your horizon, expand your horizon. And I literally had a meltdown right there during the speech. Shortly thereafter, as I was recovering days after the event, I thought about that embarrassing moment. And I thought about where I wanted to go from that point. I say that because one, when they are facing their fears, to just say, I'm never going to do that again. Just forget it. It's not for me. But I looked at myself and I thought really within myself, and I said, wait a minute, there's more to me than that incident. I've got to do everything that I can to overcome it. And one of the first things I did, I remember I was in the library and I was talking to one of my classmates. This is during my college days. And I said, I need to do something different. And he said, well, why don't you join the military? Why don't you go through ROTC? I had no idea what ROTC, which is the Reserve Officer Training Corps. I had no idea what that was, but it sounded exciting. Not to mention, I did have brothers that were in the military. I was in my family the first officer that was going to be in the military. And I signed up for ROTC during my college days, and I went through ROTC at University of Miami in Florida. And I remember the first time we had our FTX, field training exercise, which is out in the woods. This is Army training. And I'm really a girly. I'm not hardcore, as the military would say. And I packed up all of my essentials, which I found out my essentials and the Army essentials are not the same. So that's how it all got started.
Interesting. Well, what are soft skills?
Soft skills are those intangible people skills. What happens is we don't tend to develop the soft skills. Soft skills require time and effort. Those are the communication skills, the team building skills, those interpersonal skills, people skills, anything that can bring value to teams, critical thinking skills, all of those would be soft skills.
Okay. I guess what's so important about them? How does soft skills set you apart?
Okay, with the soft skills, and just to add something with that, are the hard skills. Typically, what happens is we go through life and we go through college for training and credentials. Those credentials are the hard skills. That would be training in accounting, marketing, engineering, any of the STEM fields. Those are the technical hard skills. The soft skills, as mentioned, are those intangible skills. And those skills can be developed. It just requires individuals to make an effort, as I did. Going back to my experience, one of the first things that I did, in addition to eventually going to the military, as I said, as a young officer, right out of college, I was immediately responsible, and a finance officer. I was immediately in charge of a multi-million-dollar, what would be equivalent to a bank, right out of college. And so for me to practice the soft skill, it required me to lead in that role and then also understand the dynamics of my team. And in a military structure, just as any organization, there were senior NCO, non-commissioned officers who had the years of experience. So here I was, a new lieutenant with the position. It was key for me to work with those that had the experience because they were the ones that were going to carry out the day-to-day operations in that role.
Gotcha. Why do you think there's, Why do you think there's pushback with respect to soft skills? I mean, it's just, not pushback, but they certainly don't address it as much as they should in college.
Right.
It's just kind of an assumed thing. And I don't get it.
It is an assumed thing. I do teach at one of the colleges here, and colleges are starting to recognize the value of the soft skills. In fact, at the college I teach, I am teaching team dynamics and also communications for leaders. But generally speaking, it is overlooked, and it may be because of the structure of learning institutions and not including the soft skills in the curriculums. And oftentimes what happens are the young students or the college students would have to take on developing the soft skills. There are opportunities in college because oftentimes there's teamwork. So in that way, students are developing their soft skills. But then also when you're working on teams in a learning environment, there's an opportunity to develop the critical thinking skills. However, what colleges have not done globally or across the board is included soft skills in their curriculums. However, that's where we come in. And that's one of the values that Soft Skill Zone does bring, because I have actually lived out what I teach. And I understand the value of soft skills. I've applied the soft skills to my personal life, and I've seen the benefit. And that's why once I begin to see the benefit of being able to effectively communicate, being able to come to management with solutions to problems instead of continuously reminding them of the problem, then you're adding value to that organization as well as enriching your own life and your own self.
What does it mean to teach soft skills to someone?
What I say as it relates to teaching soft skills is that it helps to develop a well-rounded individual. That is because, again, it's typical for individuals to have the technical hard skills. Also, at Soft Skill Zone, we spend our time investing in people to close the soft skill gap. The gap is how employers and hiring officials view job candidates and what candidates bring to employers. And so by providing the training, we are closing that gap because the individuals that go through our programs are well-rounded with the hard skills and the soft skills.
Okay, you talk about closing a gap here. In my mind, and I guess correct me if I'm wrong, but that denotes that somehow you're measuring soft skills and people's improvement with respect to soft skills. And I guess is that a fair statement? And if so, how do we go about measuring somebody's soft skills?
With the gap, what actually is happening is that the benefit of having the soft skills causes the candidates and employees to be more advantageous for those that are job seekers. They are now better positioned for the job because of the well-roundedness. For individuals that are in the workforce, oftentimes they may run into roadblocks when it comes to promotional opportunities. One of the things we look at personality profiles. We do DISC personality assessments. And in that, we can make determinations on what may be a roadblock to someone for promotion because of how they are naturally wired. And so what we do, we look at the gap, and with the soft skill training and what they have academically and through learning, we're better able to position them for promotional opportunities or for the actual job.
Okay. Let's shift gears here a little bit. Let's talk about soft skill zone. I guess tell us a little more about it, what you do, how people listening can get involved or help you by referring people, types of people you'd like to meet. And that's a pretty long question, but I really want to kind of delve into, I appreciate you sharing, but let's talk about your business a little bit.
Yes, at Soft Skill Zone, we focus in on 3 areas. That's soft skill training, credentialing, and coaching. And with the training, we have online courses. Of course, now, as we're still in the midst of the pandemic, everything is online. And then there's the credentialing piece, which is becoming more valuable to our learners, because with the soft skill credential, they can't include that as a part of their interview packet. For college students that are graduating, the credential is proving very helpful because these are the skills that hiring officials are looking for, the soft skills. And then there's the coaching piece. We provide the coaching after doing various assessment. I mentioned there's the Myers-Briggs, the Strength Finders, different assessments that we can do to best position individuals wherever they are in their work experience.
Okay. What types of different programs are there? I mean, it's you say they're online programs. Are these like college courses or weekend type things or a couple hours?
Well, our signature program is our soft skills certificate program, which includes 4 different soft skill courses. Those are in communication, critical thinking, professionalism and work ethics, and teamwork. Those 4 classes, once the learners have completed the 4 classes, they'll take an assessment test. After they've passed the assessment test, they'll be issued a certificate of a completion and the soft skill credential. Typically, the program is a 6-week program. Right now, it's hybrid learning, where they would meet with a trainer or facilitator once a week for 1 hour. And then the remaining portion throughout the week, it's online, asynchronous, self-paced learning. So it's a great program. And again, the benefit is having that soft skill credential because it shows mastery of these key skills. And we do follow trends in soft skills to see what hiring officials are looking for. And those particular courses remain in the top 5 to 10 that hiring officials are desiring from today's workforce.
Interesting. What would be a good referral for you? I mean, are there companies you're trying to get into, or is it mainly individuals coming to you, or is it a mixture of both?
It's companies. I have been working very well with colleges. That's an excellent start, as you were asking previously on the college students. Oftentimes, the connection is with the career centers at the colleges and universities, because those students are looking for internships and they're preparing for the workforce. And I understand the value of that program. In fact, I am in conversations now with my alma mater who just received a grant to develop a center for student veterans there at the college. And I am excited about that opportunity because I will be able to provide the training to the veterans. And so the colleges is a great place. Also the government, working with at all levels, federal and local government, as well as private companies.
Okay. What would be the best way for somebody to get a hold of you if they wanted to learn more?
Definitely can give me a call at 678-524-3343. My email is emma@softskillszone.com. And if you'd like to visit the website, you can do so at softskillszone.com.
Okay, great. We'll get some of that in the show notes. Emma, thanks for your time today.
Excellent. Thank you, Frank. It's been a blast.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AMSPIRIT.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is a copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.